Hello, you are listening to Rashmi Tripathi. Now I am here with the simple 4 steps of effective verbal communication. Before talking about the 4 steps of effective verbal communication, I would like to elaborate the term communication. What is communication? From where this term originated? So the answer to this question is very simple. The term communication was originated from the Latin word called communicare, which means to share. So communication is sharing or exchanging of ideas, knowledge and information. Communication is done between 2 or more persons. Mainly, there are 2 types of communication. The first one is verbal and another one is non-verbal or written communication. Basically, the process of communication consists of only 3 stages, where the first stage is the sender's stage. Under this stage, an individual sends the message. Then the second stage is the channel. This is the medium through which communication is done. Then the third stage is the receiver stage. Under this stage, an individual receives the message. Now, after the detailed talk on the aspect of communication, I would further and finally talk about the 4 simple steps for effective verbal communication. The very first step towards effective verbal communication is presentation. This is applicable for the sender who sends the message. Under this step, the sender should send the message in a very presentable manner. The point to be considered for being presentable is body language, which is the very first point of presentation. While communicating, one should use body language and that too in a very appropriate manner. Now the second point under presentation is clarity. Further, clarity should be taken into consideration while communication in 3 different points. That is, the first one is voice. Then the second one is surrounding and the third one is language. The voice of an individual should sound very clear, while the surrounding should not be noisy, which may create some obstacles for the listener to receive the message. While the third one is the language. The language of an individual should be very clear, thereby containing no jargons that may create any difficulty for the listener to again understand and inherit the matter. So the points to be considered under presentation is body language and the second one is clarity. That is clarity in 3 different things, that is first in voice, then the second in the surrounding, and the third one that is in language. Now, after the first simple step towards effective verbal communication, the second simple step is active listening. This is applicable for the receiver who receives the message. The term listening and hearing are closely related, but still they are different. So what is the difference between hearing and listening? Hearing is simply allowing the voice to enter the ears without understanding and inheriting the message, while listening is understanding the voice and even inheriting it. When we are listening to songs, we simply let the voice get into our ears without deep understanding. But when we listen, We take the voice in our ears, then we take it into our brain for a deep understanding. But the question arises, how to do active listening or how to listen actively? To listen actively, one needs to take 4 points into consideration. The first point is one's presence of mind. For active listening, we should be mentally present in the same place where we are physically present. Then the second point is concentration. Sometimes while listening, we listen incomplete information. That means we do not concentrate to each and every matter said to us. Thus, we have incomplete information about the matter, which may create confusion and misunderstanding. So we should concentrate deeply and completely, taking care of getting no single point of the conversation missed. And the third point to be taken care while listening is patience. Many times we interrupt in between the conversation without listening to the whole matter completely, where the chances of a misunderstanding may arise, making the communication ineffective. Now, the fourth point of active listening is memorizing. We should try to keep the conversation in our memory to make it effective, or else we can even prepare some notes of important points of our conversation. If we aren't sure or if we don't want to depend on our memory. Thus, the combination of the four, presence of mind, concentration, patience and memory, leads to active listening. Now, the third simple step towards effective verbal communication is understanding. This step is also applicable to the receiver of the message. After active listening, an individual should try to understand the message up to the best. There is difference between knowing and understanding. Many a time, we know the matter, but we don't understand it. So, a good understanding makes communication effective. Now, the last but not the least, the simple step towards effective verbal communication is clarifying. In the process of communication, if one has query of confusion, so that should be clarified instead of concluding or winding up the communication. As it is, or without clarifying any doubt or confusion. This may make the communication ineffective. Clarification resolves all the queries and misunderstandings. So these four simple steps, that are presentation, active listening, understanding and clarifying, can make our communication very effective. Thank you.